Boba, is your father here?
Yep.
May we see him?
Sure. Dad, Tonwee's here.
Jango, welcome back. Was your trip productive?
Fairly.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's come to check on our progress.
Sewa Guego Nyawa for the opportunity to answer this question and just for highlighting more diverse Star Wars fan voices. It is a little difficult to think of a precise moment, right? Like so many other people, I grew up totally entrenched in the world of Star Wars fandom, from wearing out my grandmother's VHSs to being Princess Leia for Halloween 100 times, including as an adult. It's difficult to think of a precise introduction, and it's tempting to just think of something that means a lot to me or a favorite scene or what have you. But when I think about a moment that spoke to me as an Indigenous fan, it would have to be the father-son relationship between Jango Fett and Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones.
Dad, look!
Boba, get on board!
And I know people who know me might find that a little bit surprising, but, I could just never forget how much that meant to my dad. I know it was a little personal for me and for him. He took me, he's a native dad. He's taking me to go see these prequel films in the theater as soon as they came out. And now when I look back on it as an adult, I realize, we really don't get to see healthy Indigenous fatherhood in movies. And to see that in Star Wars is amazing, right? And it does matter that it is highlighted or played by Indigenous actors. Yes, they're Indigenous to the other side of the world, but they're still Indigenous. And I think, that meant so much to him. And now as an adult, I realize that is the type of representation that we need. Not just in front of the camera. We absolutely need more Indigenous actors. I think there are so many talented people out there. But in addition, we need more Indigenous representation behind the camera as well. There's so much Native inspiration in Star Wars, right? From Princess Leia having a traditional Hopi hairstyle to the word Ewok coming from a tribe in California. But we need more than that. We don't just need Indigenous inspiration. We need Indigenous content creation. I think, Taika Waititi really said it best when he accepted his Oscar, and he said to Indigenous youth around the world, we are the original storytellers.
This is really great, and I dedicate this to all the Indigenous kids in the world who want to do art and dance and write stories. We are the original storytellers, and we can make it here as well. Thank you. Kia ora.
There is so much talent and potential in the world, in Indigenous people who can bring so much to the infinite universe of Star Wars. From every potential angle, right? Everything from story writing to directing to acting to the smaller parts of filmmaking. There are so many parts that are needed to create a film. And I do have some hope. I know that, again, I know I just referenced Taika Waititi, but the fact that he's going to get his own trilogy, I think, means a lot. I'm hopeful that that's going to be an opportunity. And I wish that we didn't just need an Indigenous director to create opportunities for Indigenous people, but that is our reality. And just the fact that he has been chosen for his own trilogy, I think, means a lot to a lot of us around the world, right? It's not something maybe that could have happened 20 or 30 years ago. It should have happened, but it couldn't. So I think that's a great opportunity for change. And I'm really hopeful that that will allow us to have more healthy Indigenous representation in Star Wars films and the Star Wars universe in general.
What is it, Dad?
Pack your things. We're leaving.
When did Star Wars speak to me as a Native American? That's an excellent question. Because it's kind of always been there. Star Wars is essentially just a Western set in space, and Westerns always have that element of natives, versus cowboys or what have you. And that's always been prevalent in Star Wars. Even in the very first movie, sometimes it's more problematic, like with the Tuscans, where you have this indigenous tribe or population there on Tatooine, but they're always presented as savages and stuff like that, stealing women, But it's always kind of been there as far as direct representation and what it means to me. And when it really stood out was in 2005 with the original Clone Wars cartoon, the 2D animated one that was on Cartoon Network. When Anakin and Obi-Wan encountered the Nelvanians, they were very obviously pulled directly from Native American culture and lore, and incorporated a lot of different elements that I remember watching it. It was back when I was in college. It really stood out to me, and I loved it. I loved seeing, they had the different paintings and they had the different family aspects included in there. I mean, Anakin even went on a vision quest.
What's he saying?
They're summoning the spirit of the fire. The mother weeps. She is sick. Our warriors have failed to heal the mother. Into the never-ending winter, a stranger comes. Tell us why he has come.
And for me, it really stood out because it didn't feel appropriative. It felt like they were being more reverent to the culture rather than trying to just take from it. And it really stood out to me and showed what could be done with that element in Star Wars. Now, while it was still used to show a more primitive, less technically advanced culture, it was really neat to see and something I hadn't seen before, and I loved it.
He says this may hurt a bit.
Is this really necessary?
It's part of their ritual. You must be respectful. You must follow the wind, for it is the mother's cry.
And these days, I see that there's definitely improvement. I think all around Star Wars is starting to improve as far as representation and being able to reach out to other people, other cultures, and lifestyles. But there's always room for improvement. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of it. We have, for me, I loved Enfys Nest in Solo, a Star Wars story. I thought she was a great character. I want to see more of her stuff explored. She brought in, everything about her screamed Native American to me, and I want to see more of it done with her. Then, of course, now we have Rebecca Roanhorse, who's written a Star Wars novel and a few of the short stories for Star Wars, and they're all really incredible. So that's always great to see because she's a Native author, so she brings in a certain element to her stories that are instantly recognizable to other Native people. Then you have a Native actress that was in The Mandalorian who played Omera. It's starting to get there, and I think that there obviously could be more that can be done to improve that. And I think if they dive into some of the lore, the mysticism, some of those cultural aspects that can really enhance Star Wars overall. And I think it'll get there. But for me, I love seeing the improvements. I love seeing that natives aren't just used in Star Wars as that primitive race now. We're starting to see see some improvement there, and I hope that trend continues. But as a Native fan, I'm definitely love all the different incorporations in Star Wars, and it really spoke to me back in that 2005, sitting in my college apartment, my little tiny one-bedroom apartment, watching these on Cartoon Network and later on YouTube, seeing those Nelvanians and how they were incorporated into a larger universe really stood out to me.